Welcome back to the channel. I am Victor Vox, and today is the first video different from the Scout's Guide or Quest Guide. Each week you should expect 3 videos from the Scout's Guide and 3 from the Quest Guide. On Saturdays I'm going to do something different. It could be a build guide, it could be a guide on how to defeat enemies, or something fun. Today I'm going to show you how to defeat the swarm and all the information you need to know about it. We are going to run 5 weapons tests on the same swarm. To keep the test as balanced as possible, each weapon will be from the beginner's weapons you get from the crafting menu before you rescue the blacksmith, or the items given to you when you leave the cinder vault. The first weapon is the hatchet, representing the cutting and blunt damage types. The rusty sword from the shroud zombie, representing the cutting, piercing, and shroud damage types. The beginner crafting bow with wooden arrows represents the piercing damage type, and the beginner wand represents the ice damage type. Lastly, the torch represents the blunt and fire damage types. Here's a screenshot of me striking down the swarm with the hatchet. The base hatchet deals damage to the swarm and barely hurts it. The white section of the health bar represents the overall damage dealt. Notice the word resisted next to the white portion of the health bar. This clearly indicates the damage type is ineffective against the enemy and will deal reduced damage. It took me 6 strikes with the hatchet to defeat the swarm. Let's try the shroud sword. The hatchet and the sword have an 11 for base damage value, but notice when I strike the swarm with the swarm, I dealt twice the damage compared to the hatchet and defeated the swarm in 3 strikes. The weapon is both effective and ineffective at the same time. We know from our hatchet test cutting and blunt are ineffective. We know our sword has cutting damage type, so piercing and shroud must be the effective damage types. Let us confirm our findings with the bow and wooden arrows, which are only piercing damage. Our bow was ineffective at harming the swarm, and it took 7 arrows to defeat it. This eliminates piercing as an effective damage type against the swarm. With this new knowledge, we know cutting, piercing, blunt are ineffective against the swarm. Shroud is an effective source of damage against the swarms. A wand is an ice damage type only, and as you can see, it is effective. It destroys the swarm in 1 hit. Now that we know ice and shroud are effective against swarms, how about fire? Was there ever a doubt that fire is effective? Based on deductive reasoning, the torch was effective and ineffective. We know from previous tests that blunt is ineffective, which leaves just the fire damage type to be effective. Now take these next 2 screenshots with a grain of salt, as I do not have a beginner's weapon for shock or poison damage. This is merely to show what swarms are effective against. I am using my main maxed out character with a Ritual Tempest wand to simply show that shock damage is neither effective nor ineffective against swarms. In this screenshot, I am using a poisoned iron arrow that are both piercing and poison damage. The shot is both effective and ineffective. From our previous test with wooden arrows, we know that piercing is ineffective. That leaves poison damage type effective against swarms. Wrapping this video up, use fire, ice, shroud, or poison damage types when you come across a swarm during your travels. Avoid using cutting, piercing, and blunt damage types. If you found this video helpful, please drop a like and comment on which Enshrouded topic you would like me to go over next. Subscribe and ring the bell to be notified of future videos. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.